Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from George. Well, we call him George, and he's in the Moskva, a tier 10 Russian cruiser. He's on-map Sleeping Giant in a 3-point domination game. So it's a tier 10 battle with not too many tier 10s, the carrier is only tier 8, and there are destroyers. Now he is here next to this island, a very powerful island, especially for a Russian raider ship. If you look at the raider circle here on the minimap, he's basically covering the whole cap while being more or less behind this island, which most of the time just helps you to not get spotted, while you can still shoot over it because it's not that high. So, you know, very strong place. I mean, he could be a little bit more towards the left, then again, I mean, he might not be able to shoot at something if it was in the cap and very close to him. Can also probably just sail behind this in emergencies. Right now he's raiding Friesland and, well, he doesn't have any shots at him and nobody else has. That's one of the downsides of this cap here. Well, it's also an upside, I guess, but there are a lot of little islands that hide destroyers. So the destroyers can be relatively safe while capping this unless a flank gets pushed too hard. Now we don't have any friendlies here at the A side, and we have questionable things happening at B. Meanwhile, broadside Brindisi, armor piercing shares out, looking good, and there is a citadel.
Requesting assistance.
Now the friendlies actually managed to sink a destroyer at B, and like what confuses me is why are there so many ships so aggressive inside the B cap, especially cruisers. Then again, if the enemy doesn't have any ships to stop them, you know, it's not that bad. Oh look, Brindisi is slowly reversing here. Those shells are out, and it looks like the Brindisi is stopping again. Now he's going to go forward again. Yeah, I think he overestimates the acceleration of St. Brindisi. Well, it's a shame, but it looks like the enemy cruiser gets away with it. So far both teams have lost the destroyer, the enemies are grabbing A, the friendlies might be grabbing B, but the C cap is unfortunately falling to the enemies. Now the friendlies have a large force here, and that's one of the issues here on this side though. Everybody likes this island. Now I have highlighted how great this island is, and we have obviously two Russian raiders here, cruisers that can cover the entire cap and be somewhat safe. The problem is it's also a very popular spot for your battleships. And that means if you have like 4 ships sitting behind this island, none of them visible, it means that any ship that might not be behind this island is ultimately focused down. And it also means that all of those ships are not doing any pushing because they just love this island so much. So I've had games where there is just like half of your team gets stuck behind this island and isn't doing anything. And losing this cap and losing all other parts of this map, and they're just so comfortable that they never leave until, well, everything is lost. But, you know, not happening here. Or Moskva is slowly trying to move. I mean, you wouldn't want the Moskva to lead this charge. Also keep in mind that Friesland doesn't even have torpedoes, so it's not like the battleships have to be afraid of that. And we have the Massachusetts going more to the... I mean, the Massachusetts might be creating crossfires as long as he isn't going back and he's going slightly forward. I don't think I necessarily dislike what he's currently doing. The Vladivostok is also going forward. It looks like the friendlies are finally pushing. It also looks like that's the enemy Friesland is miscalculating there and getting wrecked, which is nice to see. At this, Friesland overstayed his welcome. Now the friendlies are actually pushing, but meanwhile it looks like the enemy is coming from the well, A side. So we have an Alaska and a Östergötland in retreat, and well, it's a name that I probably butchering. But anyway, the B cap has never been taken, and well, the enemy does have the cap advantage, but no, friendly cruisers are now trying to flip that. Of course, friendly destroyer, he's probably trying to torpedo those incoming ships, but, you know, he could just be capping B. I mean, there hasn't been a credible threat for the B cap in a long time. I mean, the friendlies have been there in force, they took care of the enemy destroyer, they were just never able to flip the cap. Just imagine you had like a stealthy little ship, like a destroyer, that could just sit there and flip this cap. And, you know, we are now 7 minutes into this game, and there was plenty of time to do that. Anyway. Now George is trying to stop the incoming push. And it looks like he's going to have some broadside shots at them. And he just bounced on a broadside Moskva, isn't that lovely? Anyway. So the Alaska is kiting away. The destroyer might get some torpedo hits in or might not, we are going to see. Meanwhile, the friendly force is now pushing into sea. That's nice. Let's hope that, well, I mean, the Alaska and the Moskva might just very well be enough to stop this. The carrier is helping too, and the destroyer, so... Especially if the enemy decides to never angle. This should be quite fine. And still non-pens. I mean, he might have to... a little bit closer, but, you know... If this Vladivostok never decides to angle, at a certain point he will just get utterly devastated by IP. Well, or so I'm thinking, you know. Come on, give us citadels. There we go, that's what we've all been waiting for. Next up, the Moskva. Now the Moskva is trying to dodge troops and trying to dodge a wreck. Showing broadside while doing so, and two way those shells went. I feel like the sinking ship might have eaten those shells. And, well, you know, the Moskva is angled now, so he needs high explosive. Or, could just be already preparing for... Oh yeah, those shells didn't go where he wanted them. I think he wanted to aim for the turrets, but the shells were too low and hit like the nose here. And in this angle, it won't work. Now the reason he is still firing armor piercing is because he's preparing for that broadside duel here. And yeah, he handled that a lot better than the enemy Moskva. So, you know, his aim could have been a little bit better earlier. I think he wanted to take out the turrets when the ship was incoming. So anyway, this battle isn't looking too bad. I mean, the enemies still have the caps, but, you know, the friendlies have 2 more ships. And now he is... Well, once he is going a bit more forward, he will have broadside shots at the Bismarck if the Bismarck's still floating. I mean, this Bismarck is all alone, just pushing friendlies. Not going to be very effective, I would imagine. Oh, look at that, there is a small hole in the island. Maybe he can do something with it. Yeah, well, 1 pen, I mean, why not? Well, he's getting some shots in at the fighter plane there. But we are almost to the... Oh, the Bismarck is angling now. What a shame. Yeah, he should have been switching to high explosive, because, I mean, it was clear that the Bismarck was angling. Well, now this time the Bismarck completed his turn, and, well, he got wrecked. Now in comes some dive bombers. Let's see how bad it's going to be. And they missed. Well, that's always a welcome sight. Now, the friendly destroyer is still not near any cap. I mean, how unhealthy is he? You know, I mean, we are now like almost 12 minutes into this game, and it feels like the B cap could have been taken so many times over the course of this battle. Just unopposed with no risk. I mean, no risk. Obviously there is a carrier around, but it doesn't look like the enemy carrier really wanted to focus on the destroyer so far. Now we have a radar going off, and I'm not sure if anyone has shots at the cell, but maybe. It's good to know where exactly the cell is, I guess. There are some torps incoming. And the enemy team still has a points lead. Will the friendlies be able to push B? I don't know. No. We still have a Massachusetts here stuck into this E-cap. And the enemy team is pulling it back on ships, which is a bit unfortunate. Now that Massachusetts, if he wants to defend C, that's fine, but he should be more aggressive. He should be closer to the Odin and the mines. I mean, the Odin does have, you know, torpedoes, but still the Massachusetts has vastly superior secondaries. And the Massachusetts should definitely want to be in secondary range. Now, George, well, he's getting in some shots at this Henry, but he's going for the A-cap right now because he decided that points might be needed. But more importantly, he has found a carrier. And, well, I mean, it's hard to pass up on a juicy carrier that's right in front of him. Now, he cannot just take this cap, but he can also fulfill it. Probably his deepest desire, sinking a carrier. I mean, I don't know if that's his deepest desire, but it's a good bet on... You're talking about the Warships player, isn't it? So 4 overpens and a ricochet. Okay. And 3 more overpens. So, he has his friendly destroyer in here. You know, nothing made that friendly destroyer decide to go for a cap, but when he saw a carrier, he's now just capping by accident by... I mean, that's what gets people motivated, right? Seeing a carrier can get everyone back from the zone war. And just charging in, I guess. So, the carrier is almost, well, in a position where it can be shot again. I do have to say I love this kit. And still with the ammo piercing. You know, George should be shooting a lot more high explosive in my opinion. Like, he's really focusing on AP for some reason. Now, I'm aware that you can't really burn carriers all that well. Yeah, there are 5 ricochets. Yeah, there is the explosive I wanted to see. I mean, you can't burn carriers very well because for some reason they are the only actually fireproof class in the game. But yeah, there you see, that's going to be a lot more effective with this angle. There he is trying to get away, but he just cannot escape. There is something very satisfying about watching this. But then maybe I'm just like... Well, I like to play a lot of destroyers, so... That just feels like justice right here. Anyway, so the Kraken has been unleashed. It's 3 against 2 ships, and, well, the friendlies have finally overtaken the enemy on points. Now the Henry is trying to take a cap here. But, you know, the Mines is on very low health. We still have a carrier. Might be going for it, and... Well, the friendly destroyer might just be trying to intercept the Henry. Going to find out how that's going to work. Now there's 3.5 minutes left. If the enemy is allowed to flip both caps and then their ship survive, that might be a bit of an issue. so George is turning away. I suspect that's because of the torpedoes, right? If he comes charging in like this, there might just be a good chance that he's going to eat torps. But if he can like kite away and take this to a more long-range fight against the Henry, his hit points advantage should make this a pretty safe way. So he's going to high explosive again. The Henry is way too angled for armor piercing. And there is a fire, that's what we want to see. Now, of course, there is a very small island right in front of him. We can see the island warning here. Problem is, yeah, like, if he tried to dodge the island, he would have been forced to potentially shore. Then again, I mean, he could have been sailing. But you know, now this is a slightly awkward position to be stuck in. Because the Henry is getting closer. I mean, the Henry is going to go down soon, most likely. But if the Henry is charging in, he might be able to get torps off. And, you know, he's also going to be sailing into a spot where only the rear turret can shoot. So, might be awkward. This is awkward. Well, we've got the fire again. And the Henry is turning to shore broadside, but you know what? The Henry is actually the last ship floating, so this means once the Henry is down, this is just over. And here we are with the results. So George earned himself 2,461 base experience, and he was very instrumental in this victory. Although I think he really should have used more high explosive. He achieved, what is it, an AA expert, or whatever this achievement is called, a Confederate close quarters expert even, and the Kraken, scoring 170,000 points of damage and sinking 6 enemy ships. So hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next time.